Baruch atah Asherah Anat Melecha Ha'olam Asher Kiddushani Mitzvotav V'tzivani Lehitotiv Latzitzit. Hello, Lady Inafus. What a great name. Shema Yisrael Asher Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. Vahafta et Anat Elohecha ובכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר נערכים מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות מעיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך וחיה כי בהחיה אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר נשבע לאבותיך לאברהם ליצחק וליעקב לתת לך ערים גדולות וטובות אשר לא בנית ובתים מלאים כל טובה אשר למילאת וברות הטובים אשר לא עשת כהרים וזיתים אשר לא נתת והלכת ושבת הישמר לך פן תשכח את יהוה אשר תשכח מארץ מצרים מבית עבדים. Listen, you who struggles with God. Yahweh Eloheinu Asher Echad. All the names are one name. They are all the same idea at the source. So goes an interpretation of an ancient claim. Whether or not that is what was believed by the first person to write it, or whether that is what will be believed by the last person to write it, it does not matter. That's how I'm interpreting it today. Good morning, teen mom in Denmark. How are you? So, today we're going to continue reading our story about Inanna. So, where we left off, excuse me. You know, I only wear these shawls when I'm live streaming, and it's a bit of a problem because they accrue dust on my little shawl area over there. And then whenever I'm streaming, I sneeze in a way that is not typical of the rest of my day. But so it goes. I think we'll be okay. We're not going to die just yet. So, where we left off with Inanna. Inanna had received May from her father. In this case, her father is Enki. Right? The genealogy is a little bit variable, but we can see all of these various May that Enki gave her. Right? He gave me the quiver. He gave me the art of lovemaking. He gave me the kissing of the phallus. He gave me the art of prostitution. He gave me the art of speeding. Right, so all of these very unique cultural practices Enki gives to Inanna, and then Inanna steals away in a boat to Ur, the city of Uruk. Ur and Uruk are not the same. I was confused. And Enki gives away all of his May in a drunken stupor. And then he sobers up and he's like, why did I give all of that cultural knowledge to Inanna? Why? Ways to boost creativity. Ranix. I don't know. Remove formal obligations. Universal basic income. Right? Like, I don't know. I remember when I was much younger, and I felt more hopeful than I feel today. I just had all of this energy, and I had all these ideas bubbling out of myself that I couldn't figure out how to express, although I desperately wanted to. And now, a decade later, I have more tools at my disposal for the expression of ideas, and none of the ideas that I might express seem worth expressing. So I haven't made a film in 3 months. I don't know how to boost creativity. I think that the stress of life wears on us. And those that are most creative in our society are those who manage to escape those stresses in certain ways. And by creative, I suppose I mean productive, right? Like, you can have interesting thoughts all you want, but there's a long path between having an interesting thought and producing a product so that other people around you can have that interesting thought. Yeah, and that requires privilege. Sorry, I don't mean to be too pessimistic here, but that's that's a thought that runs through my mind often. You escape that once a week when you open your small business. What is your small business, Victoria? So, Inanna flees to Uruk with all of the May. She doesn't flee, but I mean, it becomes a flight because Enki starts following her with all sorts of terrible beasts. Allergies. So Enki starts following her with terrible beasts. Then Enki spoke, saying, Isimud, the boat of heaven, with the holy May, where is it now? The boat of heaven is one quay away from Eridu. Go, take the Enkum creatures, let them bring the boat of heaven back to Eridu. Can people come join my program even if they're pregnant? Well, sure, but I'm not actually running any programs right now. We usually run them in the summer. So the next time we run a mycology program, I will put an announcement on my TikTok page. And yeah, pregnancy is no trouble. Go, take the Enkum creatures, and let them bring the boat of heaven back to Eridu. Isimud spoke to Inanna, my queen. Your father has sent me to you. Your father's words are words of state. They may not be disobeyed. Inanna answered, What has my father said? What has Enki added? What are his words of state that may not be disobeyed? Isimud spoke. My king has said, let Inanna proceed to Uruk, but bring the boat of heaven with the holy May back to Eridu. Inanna cried, My father has changed his word to me. He has violated his pledge, broken his promise. Deceitfully my father spoke to me. Deceitfully he cried, In the name of my power, in the name of my holy shrine, deceitfully he sent you to me. Scarcely had Inanna spoken these words when the wild-haired Encom creatures seized the boat of heaven. And here we have these triple-headed serpents, the Encom creatures. I don't actually know if that's the Encom. I wonder about these images and how accurate they are, but it doesn't really matter. Not that much. Inanna called to her servant Ninshubur, saying, "Come, Ninshubur, once you were the queen of the east. Now you are a faithful servant of the holy shrine of Uruk. Water has not touched your hand, water has not touched your foot. My Sukal, who gives me wise advice, my warrior who fights by my side, save the boat of heaven with the holy May." So we have a conflict. Ninshubur sliced the air with her hand. She uttered an earth-shattering cry. The Encom creatures were sent hurling back to Eridu. Then Enki called to his servant Izimud a second time, saying, "My Sukal, Izimud, my king, Enki, I stand to serve you. Where is the boat of heaven now? It is 2 quays away from Eridu. Go, take 50 Uru giants. Let them carry off the boat of heaven." And here we have an Uru giant right there. The 50 flying Uru giants seized the boat of heaven, but Ninshubur rescued the boat for Inanna. Enki called to his servant Izimud a third time, saying, "My Sukal, Izimud, my king, Enki, I stand to serve you. Where is the boat of heaven now? It has just arrived at Dulma. Quickly, take 50 Lahamu monsters. Let them carry off the boat of heaven." The 50 Lahamu sea monsters seized the boat of heaven, and here they are, seizing the boat of heaven right here. But Ninshubur rescued the boat from Inanna, because Ninshubur is just better than Izimud, apparently. She wins all the battles. A fourth time, Enki sent a sound-piercing Kulgalal. A fifth time, Enki sent the Enunun. But each time, Ninshubur rescued the boat for Inanna. Enki called to his servant Izimud a sixth time, saying, "My Sukal, Izimud, my king, Enki, I stand to serve you. Where is the boat of heaven now? It is about to enter Uruk. Quickly, take the watchmen from Irtuganal Canal, the Iturungal Canal. Let them carry off the boat of heaven." Izimud and the watchmen of the Irungal Canal seized the boat of heaven, but Ninshubur rescued the boat for Inanna. Then Ninshubur spoke to Inanna, "My queen, when the boat of heaven enters the Nigula gate of Uruk, let high water flow in our city. Let the deep-going boats sail swiftly through our canals." And with that, we will pause, right? So we have this image here of the boat with the Holy May entering into the gates of Uruk. And so Inanna has won the day. Right? She's outpaced all of the terrible monsters. And we will hear about the celebrations and the water flowing in the city of Uruk as Inanna brings the Holy May to her new city. We'll read about that tomorrow. For now, I'm going to put this away. And we will shift languages and shift regions and repeat the Arati, the prayer of flame. Good morning, Charlie. How are you? What are you up to today? So, the word Arati means light or flame in Sanskrit. And when we say this prayer, we repeat the names of various South Indian gods, South Asian gods, summarize 10,000 stories in a single prayer, and remind ourselves that regardless of the details of the stories, they all come from the same human desire to find meaning in our lives. Thank you, Charlie. That's really sweet of you to say. What kind of work do you do? Jaya Jaya Arati Vina Vinayaka Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jaya Jaya Arati Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jaya Jaya Arati Venugopala Venugopala Venugola Papa Vidura Navanita Chora Jaya Jaya Arati Venkantaramana Venkantaramana Sankatarana Sitarama Radhe Shama Jaya Jaya Arati Gauri Manohara Gauri Manohara Bhavani Sankara Samba Sadashiva Uma Maheshwara Jaya Jaya Arati Raja Rajeshwari Raja Rajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Mahashakti Jaya Jaya Arati Anjaneya Anjaneya Hanumanta Jaya Jaya Arati Dattatreya Dattatreya Trimurti Avatara Jaya Jaya Arati Adityaya Adityaya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jaya Arati Sanistaraya Sanistaraya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jaya Arati Sankaracharya Sankaracharya Advaita Guravi Jaya Jaya Arati Sadgurunata Sadgurunata Shivananda Jaya Jaya Arati Vishnu Devananda Vishnu Devananda Vishnu Devananda Jaya Jaya Arati Agastya Munaye Agastya Munaye Shirama Priyaye Jaya Jaya Arati Ayapa Swamine Ayapa Swamine Dharma Shastave Jaya Jaya Arati Jesus Grave Moses Grave Buddha Grave Jaya Jaya Arati Muhammad Grave Guru Nanak Grave Samastya Gurubho Namaha Jaya Jaya Arati Venugopala Natatra Suyobati Natandra Karatam Nima Vidyobati Kutaya Magni Twameva Bantam Namanti Sarvam Tasya Basya Samridam Vivanti Om Gange Kayamune Kaiva Govari Saraswati Narmade Siddhika Vari Hiya Namastitam Namo Namaha. Lizzie, this prayer is called Arati. It's a repetition of holy names. Now we have a dedication prayer. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandusha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarva Mama Deva Deva Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva Budyat Manava Prakrite Sabhavat Karomi Adyat Sakalam Parasmahe Narayana Iti Sarmar Payami Savadamam Pravichayam Amikam Savadam Braja Am Svasarva Papayo Mokshayami Masucha. Whatever actions I perform with my body, speech, mind, senses, my nature, my intellect, or my emotions, all these I dedicate to you. Excuse me. Angel noise. So the prayer, once again, is called Arati, which means light or flame. Right. So here we have our little sacred little flame. Little flame. What makes it sacred? Well, because I call it sacred. No other reason. I call it sacred, and you look at it and you think, oh yes, that's sacred, and that makes it sacred, because it's all just arbitrary meaning systems. We will conclude today with the mourner's Kaddish. Kaddish means sacred. In Hebrew, means holy. Or it means prayer, right? Most simply, it means prayer, right? So we say Kaddish on Shabbat. Today is Shabbat. I'll be saying Kaddish later today over the bread and the wine and the lights. But Kaddish is different from Kiddush. Kaddish pronounced that way most usually means this prayer of grief, this prayer of mourning. And I've been saying this prayer nearly every day since the pandemic began. It started as a way of mourning the dead, but it's expanded to be a lot more than that, right? I have come to believe that it is vital, vital meaning alive, for us to grieve together publicly, right? To acknowledge all of the ways in which we experience sorrow together, because grief is a social emotion. Most of our emotions are social emotions. We have to process them collectively, or they sit and fester. So we say this prayer of grief to remind ourselves of what we have lost, those people in our lives who are no longer here, those aspects of ourselves that we've lost touch with. We grieve them. We grieve them together, and in so doing, very subtly remind us that we are all here, right here. Despite whatever other experiences we might be experiencing, we are all here together. So, for the last 2,500 years, give or take, my ancestors have said words that sound a bit like this, give or take, in response to death. Yitkadal vidkadash Shema Rabba. Biama divrachute viamlich malchute v'chaychon v'yomechon v'chayede kol beit Israel bagala v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shema Rabba meva'arech li'alam omei omaya yitbarach v'ishtabach v'itba'ar v'irmam v'naseh v'tadar v'talei v'talal Shema dukudesh ha'barechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushvichata v'nechemata diamiran biama v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'achol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Ose shalom b'mirma v'huya ase shalom aleinu v'achol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Ose shalom b'mirma v'huya ase shalom aleinu v'achol Yisrael v'imru. V'imru. Amen. Good morning, Batya. So happy to see you here. Shabbat Shalom. I hope you're well today. So, I'm going to go downstairs now and prepare Shabbat dinner for my commune. But I will be here again very soon to say these words again with you. So if you appreciate this stream, if you appreciate this work that we do, this community that we have built here together, I would encourage you to check out the link in my bio. You can support the stream through a subscription on Patreon, or with a one-time tip, or you can subscribe on TikTok. There's many ways to do it. But anyway you choose to support this channel and this stream makes a really huge difference in my life, and gives me the resources to be able to continue to devote time to this every single day. So, I hope you have a really lovely day, and I will see you very soon to say these words once more. Okay, farewell.